If you're asked to show the only mainland desert in Europe on the map, where will you point? Many people will have a problem doing so, but look at the map of the continent showing on your screen right now in green. You will see Spain pop up in blue. The desert is known as the Tabernas Desert, which you can see in gray. However, Spain does not just have a desert within its border, but it has a desert problem as the desert is expanding. But the government of Spain is fighting back. And this video is about how Spain is turning its desert into green forest. Many people know about the Atacama Desert in Chile, the Sahara Desert in northern Africa, and the Gobi Desert in China. However, there is a desert in Spain that manages to maintain a relatively low profile, named the Tabernas Desert. Located in the Andalusia region of Spain, the Tabernas Desert begins around 30 kilometers north of Almeria. The area, which is strictly speaking only a semi-desert, extends over 280 square kilometers or 28,000 hectares. This region gets more than 30,000 hours of sunshine every year. In the summer months, temperatures can easily climb to between 35 and 40 degrees Celsius or 95 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The place is lucky if it gets more than 250 millimeters of rain during the entire year. However, when it rains in the Tabernas Desert, it pours. This often causes flash floods, which in turn cause erosion. This has resulted in the marls and sandstone in the region being sculpted magnificently by nature. These heavy rains cause a type of landscape known as badlands, one of nature's most fantastic features. This consists of dry terrain that has been systematically eroded by rain and wind for an extended period of time. While the desert area is not able to support many animals and plants, what it is good for is backdrops in adventure movies. In fact, directors have shot more than 500 movies in the Tabernas Desert. One of the most popular is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian. Spain, however, has a serious ecological problem: desertification. In fact, in Europe, Spain is the most vulnerable to desertification. According to the National Action Programs, NAPS, for the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, 74% of Spain's landmass is at risk of desertification, while 18% of the country could become irreversibly desert. Within Spain, the regions of Murcia, Valencia, and the Canary Islands are the most endangered areas, with a high or very high risk of desertification across 90% of the territory. Much of Spain's desertification problems are caused by humans, such as overfarming and excessive irrigation, which erodes soil and drains aquifers. The problem exists on a daunting scale in Spain, where agriculture has steadily industrialized and 3/4 of the landmass is already generally dry or semi-arid. Following the change of use of land expropriated from the Catholic Church in the 18th and 19th centuries, destructive mining and farming techniques wreaked havoc on the soil structure and water table. For instance, while economic analysts are happy with how Spain increased its income from agriculture in the last decade, environmentalists are not happy with the toll on the water table. The agricultural practices gulp almost 7 times as much water consumed in all the households in the country. As a result, in many areas, once productive land has become incapable of producing enough crops to support human or animal life, although some vegetation may hang on. In fact, satellite imagery shows that a further 1% of Spanish territory is actively degrading because of brutal agricultural practices. It is important to clear up a common misunderstanding of the word desertification. It doesn't always mean the desert is expanding, but it's about the misuse or overuse of natural resources at a rate faster than the rate they are being restored. Spain, however, is not watching helplessly as the desert takes over all its land. The effort to turn back the hands of desertification is happening in concert with the industry players themselves, the people who are directly affected the most. Take, for example, the effort of Alvalal, an eco-business movement dedicated to restoring the biodiversity of the degraded areas. Alvalal has a massive 20-year program and concentrates on a huge tract of land that spans more than 1 million hectares, touching Almeria, Granada, and Murcia. Alvalal was started by growers and entrepreneurs who are developing regenerative agricultural schemes funded by foreign investors and philanthropists that will nurture the soil and the microbiology that is slowly but surely being annihilated. The returns are not quick, and it may not be until 2035 before they begin to see tangible results, even though they are spending 1.3 million euros annually. The bitter truth is, while the degradation might have been swift, reversing it takes time and money. There is something else about the impact of the Alvalal project. Experts predict it could even change the local climate. This is because it will lead to more water in the soil and more evapotranspiration from the trees. Alvalal is focused on a piece of land the size of Madrid, where it plants more ecological almond trees than anywhere else in the world, about 50,000 hectares. The association involves 250 entrepreneurs and researchers as well as ecologically minded individuals. Funding is received from Common Land and other organizations like the TUI and the Leopold Bachmann Foundations for creating alternative and sustainable businesses. Regenerative agriculture covers over 8,000 hectares and consists of 40 farms with tree-based crops. Alvalal hopes to double the area where it is active in 2 years. Common Land is a Dutch NGO. This group has enjoyed success in reversing desertification in Africa and Australia and is now offering to help in Spain. After considering many applications from concerned landowners, they decided to start with the plateau of Almeria. The NGO said Almeria got the nod because of the degree of erosion and depopulation among the worst in the region. Common Land will achieve its goal by empowering rural people to take charge of their own destinies and participate fully in the effort. What Common Land plans to do is replicate the Great Green Wall of Africa in the Sahel region, where a huge forest stretching across the width of the continent, combined with rural development projects, could halt the spread of the Sahara and bring swathes of Africa's degraded landscapes back to life. Alvalal has planted thousands of trees on the slopes of La Muela, where it hopes to tackle the problem on multiple fronts. It's attacking soil erosion, regenerative agriculture, sustainable livestock operations, water conservation, and depopulation. Depopulation is a huge issue here, as people tend to move away from places where they can't make a living. For example, Velas Blanco had a population of 7,000 in the 50s, but nowadays the town can only boast of 2,000. The group recognizes that farmers have to be incentivized to continue to take part, because if they can't see a way to make a profit, they will abandon the scheme. For this reason, there is a focus on putting money into local companies that are embracing sustainable development. One of such businesses is Almendra Hesse, which is now exporting its Pepita de Oro brand to the UK and Germany. The company can command a premium for its products. For instance, while the standard almond goes for £4.5 per kilo, organic ones can sell for up to €7.5 per kilogram. Meanwhile, individual farmers are joining in the fight too. Some of them have willingly changed their farming practices to help the tired soil recover. For example, to bring nitrogen back to the soil, they have planted several species of grass and leguminous plants for vegetation cover, perfected over the last 7 years in order to dispense with the plastic used in greenhouses elsewhere in the region. Apart from embracing sustainable agriculture, many of them have gone a step further and become involved with regenerative agriculture, which is concerned with the health of the soil and uses minimal plowing. Some of their parents and grandparents used toxic pesticides that are now banned, but this generation of farmers, having seen the negative effects of these substances, are now opting for more environmentally friendly agricultural practices. Other old farming methods led to the loss of fertile topsoils, resulting in losses of over 20 tons of soil per hectare on average. What is even more inspiring about Spain's effort to combat desertification is that other countries are trying to duplicate the effort to help them fight desert in their own country. For example, Alfonso Chico de Guzman, who runs a farm that has been in his family for generations, is also participating in Alvalal's programs. He operates a land restoration camp on his 1,000-hectare farm, La Janguera, which attracts volunteers from all over the world. He also hosts a regenerative academy that takes students, all of them foreign, who are writing their research thesis on agriculture. Let's hear what you think of human activities causing desertification in the comments section below.